So let's talk about these brand new Nintendo Switch controllers that are going to be released. Now, these controllers honestly aren't anything too special or too crazy. They're just mediocre if you ask me personally. They at least are made by Hori, so they are a third-party controller made by Hori, but at least you know you will get some type of quality out of this product because Hori has been known to make a lot of different accessories for Nintendo consoles, so it's not like it's an unknown third-party company. It is a recognizable third-party company. Again, these aren't really anything too special. I guess the main reason I wanted to talk about these controllers is there is two things interesting about these controllers, kind of. One is they are Super Mario themed, so you can see both of them do have Super Mario branding all over it. The first one does have Mario and Bowser on it and the castle in the background, and then the other one just has a whole bunch of Mario items on it. And personally, I'm not a fan of these controllers. I just think they don't look too comfortable. I don't really like the big, bold design of Super Mario on this. They're just very kid-like in my opinion, but I guess they're not really trying to target me. They're trying to target people who really enjoy this stuff, or maybe kids. But the reason I actually wanted to cover these controllers specifically is because there is two things interesting about these controllers. One is they are Super Mario branded, but then another thing is they are coming out in September, and that may lead up to something. It may actually lead up to Super Mario's 35th anniversary. If you didn't know anything, this year is the year of Super Mario because Super Mario does turn 35 this year, and that's actually supposed to be happening next month in September. That's when his anniversary is, and a lot of people still have speculation that there might be a Super Mario 3D collection coming to the Nintendo Switch, and a lot of people think that this is no coincidence. Why would a company like Hori release two Super Mario themed controllers and then actually release them in September? Is that a coincidence? Honestly, I don't think that's a coincidence. If you put two and two together, it really does seem like we are going to be getting a Super Mario 3D collection on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm looking forward to that. If those rumors and speculations actually turn out to be true, and I really do think again these rumors and speculations, and now that these controllers are officially coming out, you can pre-order them on Amazon. They're relatively cheap. They're $25 a piece. I really do think it's a sign that we are getting a 3D collection on the Nintendo Switch. Now, if Nintendo actually does a 3D collection for all the or some of the older 3D Mario games, that would actually be pretty amazing. Honestly, I'm not quite sure how they're going to release these games. Are they going to release these 3D Mario games in a collection, or are they going to release them as individual games on the eShop? Because let's say, for instance, they do a collection and they put like 3 or 4 games in a collection for $60. Honestly, that would be a steal, and I think most people would agree you need to go ahead and buy that. The one thing I'm still kind of curious is if they do release this, if they do release them in any capacity, how are they actually going to play on the Nintendo Switch? Are they just going to be ports of the old games, or are they actually going to be updated games with like HD graphics, and maybe they'll update the games to have new features and new things like that? It's going to be very interesting. Honestly, for me personally, if they're a collection or not a collection, and they just throw them on the Nintendo Switch, and they don't really do anything to the game. They don't even at least give these games an HD treatment. Honestly, I'm gonna be less likely to buy these games, even though they are worth $60 if they were to put it in like a collection. And yeah, I just wouldn't be interested because I've already played these games a lot, and there's no real incentive, I guess, outside of me owning them on the Switch with my other games, or maybe if I wanted to play these games, of course, on the go. That would be the incentive if they didn't do any treatment to these games. But I'm really hoping, no matter how they port these to the Switch in a collection or not, I really do hope these get the HD treatment. I'm actually really hoping, of course, like most people, they do at least put it in a collection, even if they don't do anything with them, because having to buy these games individually may be kind of expensive. As long as they price them out to not be more than $60, I guess I would be okay if they did these as individual releases on the Nintendo Switch. Now, there is still another rumor floating around as well that does suggest that Nintendo may be releasing Super Mario 3D World on the Nintendo Switch, but it's not going to be part of this collection. And honestly, I kind of see that actually being a thing. At first, I was like, that doesn't make sense because you're going to put 3 or 4 Super Mario 3D games on this collection if they do a collection way, and then put this as an individual release on the eShop and as a physical game. And honestly, I understand why, because Wii U games do sell, and a lot of people did not get the chance to play all these amazing Wii U games. So by putting 3D World into a collection with the other 3D Mario games, honestly wouldn't make sense, and it would be losing them a lot of money. Then definitely that $60 price tag that you got would pretty much mean that you'd be getting Super Mario 3D World pretty much for free, alongside a whole bunch of Super Mario 3D games. So honestly, I don't see them doing that, but it can go either way, and it is very interesting too. I really do think they need to release this collection as soon as possible, probably next month, just because you look at the landscape for the Nintendo Switch and the landscape for 2020 for the Switch is honestly not looking very good at all. A lot of people actually agree the Nintendo Switch in 2020 has been pretty mediocre, to be honest. Sure, we've gotten some games here, like obviously the big hard-hitting game, of course, you know, is Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, and it's been selling amazing for Nintendo. It's interesting, even though there's little to offer for the consumer in 2020 for the Nintendo Switch, at least in terms of new releases, Nintendo has their finances covered with one title, and that's Animal Crossing. So that is actually very interesting, to say the least. They can literally release no games outside of Animal Crossing in 2020, and Nintendo would still be making bank on how many copies and how many Switches they've sold, just due to the fact that Animal Crossing is officially a thing. So of course we'll have to wait and see how this rumor actually turns out, if this is going to be real or not. But most likely, I can bet your bottom dollar this is going to be real, now that these controllers are floating around. But then again, this could all just be misleading. It could just be, oh, we're just doing this for Mario's 35th anniversary, but there is nothing else to announce. It's just a thing where people got tricked by this release of these 2 Super Mario themed controllers, which is interesting. Now, the next one on my list is kind of not really news. It's kind of just a DIY project that someone actually did. Now, you can look this up on YouTube if you type in mask gun, but basically somebody on YouTube actually made a device that actually can throw out masks, and it's actually quite interesting. So of course, you guys know 2020 is the pandemic year, and since this is the pandemic year, of course, a lot of people, of course, are being forced to wear masks, and of course there's still people out there in 2020 for whatever reason just despise masks. They're like one of those people, and this gun would actually be very funny to actually use. You put a mask on this contraption, and then you shoot it out at somebody, and it's actually funny. So it's like, you're not going to wear your mask. Well, I got the solution for you. I'm just going to make this mask gun, and I'm going to go around shooting everybody who doesn't have a mask on. Or even if you have a mask on, I'll just shoot you another mask. I think this contraption is funny, and I always like to see these different DIY projects, or these different things that people do outside of the box, because I think it is very interesting to see how people actually use technology, how people actually build stuff. People go out of their way to make stuff that's not really practical, like this contraption's, I guess, not really, of course, practical in any stretch of the imagination, but just the fact that this person built it is very interesting. It really does go to show you too, I guess, also in 2020, a lot of people, more so than not, are of course bored, and they don't really have anything else to do. So what better way to actually put your time to good use than to do something silly like this, and actually make a DIY gun where you can shoot out these guns, or shoot out these masks to people. And I think this contraption is very interesting. It's also interesting, almost nobody would actually want to do something like this, but this guy had like the talent to actually make something like this that can actually do this. Now, I don't know how useful this is or how good this thing actually works, because granted, I haven't actually watched this video yet. I just saw this news and I actually thought this was very interesting. But the name of the actual video on YouTube is called Shooting Masks Onto People's Faces. You can actually watch this video if you so desire and you want to. But yeah, just a very interesting take on a I guess so-called kind of like a rubber band gun. I'm assuming this thing has some type of motor, because you can see on the back of this contraption or this gun, it does have a wire on it. So of course it probably has a battery, it probably has a motor, and it probably shoots these things out. I will throw up a picture of at least the contraption on screen, so you can at least see what this thing looks like if you're curious to see what this mask shooter actually looks like. Now, the next one on my list is actually about Apple, because it looks like Apple will now give customers an entire year to buy extended warranty for products. So basically, they're going to give you a longer period of time to actually activate Apple Care if you wanted Apple Care. At first, when I saw this story, I was like, this really doesn't make sense. Why would Apple want you to have Apple Care or extend Apple Care as long as possible? And why would they want you to have a long time before you decide to activate your Apple Care? And the more I thought about it, the more it actually kind of makes sense to me in the long run. And hear me out here. The reason it really does make sense here is because they're actually really wanting you to activate Apple Care. The more you think about it, you would think they wouldn't want you to activate Apple Care, because they're like, well, if you don't have Apple Care and you break your Apple device, well, doesn't that mean you go to Apple and you have to pay a premium for your repairs for your iPhone, your Mac, your iPad, whatever the case may be? Well, that would be true, but the true reality and the sad reality is the fact that most people either A, don't break their smartphones to begin with, or their technology, or they do break their devices, but in a lot of scenarios, they don't go to Apple to actually get it repaired. I know a lot of people out there actually, time and time again, go to these third-party retailer shops to either A, save money, or it's the fastest service available, and they don't want to have to like send it into Apple if they don't have like a Apple certified like Apple store around them. So it makes sense they would want to go to these third-party resellers or these third-party repair centers that actually repair Apple devices. But I think it boils down to, one, Apple may end up getting more money in the long run if you were to activate Apple Care, but then never end up breaking your device. It's like free money in their pocket. And then another reason why they would want you to actually have Apple Care, if you actually think about it, is because they want you to go to them to actually get the repairs, because a lot of times they don't want people going to third parties who don't have the same parts that Apple has, because a lot of times when you look at these third-party repair centers, they repair Apple devices, but a lot of their parts inside that repair center are third-party parts, and they're not officially certified from Apple, and that does decrease the value of your device in some scenarios. Like, I had a friend once who tried to get his phone for trade-in, but they found out his screen was a third-party screen, and since his screen was a third-party screen, they were like, no, we can't unfortunately do the trade-in deal, because the deal is you have to have a good working Apple device. And he did have a good working Apple device, but just the fact that the screen was a third-party screen, they were like, nope, we can't actually let you trade it in, because it actually ruins the value of the device. And in a lot of scenarios, it actually turns off some features, some of the third-party accessories. Like, for instance, I know for a factor, if you get a third-party screen, sometimes True Tone won't work, or like some certain haptic feedback won't work, or for instance, the clarity of your screen may not be the same because you got your screen repaired from a third-party shop. So that's not great news. So I can see why Apple is extending Apple Care activation. You have a longer time to activate Apple Care. I guess that is nice also, because then you don't have to decide right away, do you want Apple Care or do you not want Apple Care? You can kind of wait it out and see if you think you'll need Apple Care in your scenario. But yeah, it's just very interesting that Apple is deciding to actually extend Apple Care and things like that to people to give them a little bit more time to see if they need Apple Care. Now, the next one on my list is actually more about Apple, and it kind of plays hand in hand about Apple actually extending Apple Care. It looks like Apple will give third-party Mac repair shops its stamp of approval, specifically Mac repair shops. So like I was saying before, usually what happens is a lot of times if you go to a third-party repair shop who does Apple repairs, a lot of times they're not certified, and you do have to be certified to get the certification from Apple. That means you will get all the parts that are specifically made for your Apple products. But in a lot of scenarios, they're not certified. So that means when you go into a shop, a lot of times you get third-party parts that may not function correctly with your Apple product. But now it looks like Apple is opening up a little bit more, and they really want these third-party repair shops to actually be certified with Apple. And it looks like they are getting these Mac repair shops more approval, so that's nice because a lot of times in some scenarios it is more convenient to go to like a third-party repair shop to get your device repaired. A lot of times it is going to be cheaper, but a lot of times, like I said before, it's just more convenient if you actually think about it. And I'm glad that Apple is finally opening up. Does that mean that you'll get everything certified and all the parts are going to be actually Apple certified parts from these third-party retailers? No, it doesn't mean that you'll get exactly everything, because a lot of times, even though they are certified from Apple, I've seen it time and time again where even though they're certified, they say they can't get every single premium first-party part from Apple. A lot of times they still have to get these Chinese knockoff parts in a lot of scenarios, because Apple, for some reason, even if you're certified or not, just really doesn't want to open up to third-party resellers or third-party shops. They really want you to get most of their parts or most of your work done at an Apple store or Apple itself. And I guess that does make sense, but I'm glad Apple does actually opening up. They might as well open up anyway, because like I said before, a lot of times people are going to go to that third-party repair shop compared to Apple anyway. And if they're going to be going there anyway, you might as well make sure that their devices are going to have genuine Apple parts instead of some third-party parts, which you don't know if they're going to work with your device or destroy your device or damage the resale value of your device just because you decided to go to a third-party retail shop compared to going to Apple in the first place, which is very interesting. Now, the next one on my list is actually about Blockbuster, because it looks like Blockbuster, the very last one, because yes, there is one more Blockbuster in the world that is still currently opening, and apparently this Blockbuster does very well. But the interesting story here is the world's last Blockbuster is now open for slumber parties. So basically they're going to be doing some kind of Airbnb thing. And this thing is only a one-time thing, apparently. It's not going to be like a thing where they just open up the store all the time. So it is very interesting. If you want to have a stay at the world's last Blockbuster, you can. I guess this thing really is blowing up, and it really is a pop culture icon at this point. I guess it makes sense since Blockbuster is no longer around. A lot of people have memories with Blockbuster. Who doesn't remember Blockbuster back in the day? Blockbuster was everywhere, and everybody rented from Blockbuster, to be honest. And it was the world's leading chain for movie rentals and even video game rentals. But yeah, I have a lot of memories at Blockbuster. I like Blockbuster. You liked Blockbuster back in the day. Everyone liked Blockbuster. So it is pretty amazing that there is still one Blockbuster in the world still open. And that last Blockbuster is in Bend, Oregon. And they're going to be opening up their store to Airbnbs. It looks like it's going to be $4 a night. And it looks like it's going to be opening on September 18th, 19th, or 20th. And I don't know how many people are going to get to stay at this Blockbuster, since again it's only going to be for the 18th, 19th, or 20th of September. So of course that's next month, and it's going to be from 1 p.m. PT to 4 p.m. Eastern. That's when you can actually, I think, go or list or something like that. But yeah, it would be kind of kind of awesome to actually go to this Blockbuster and stay the night, just because you'll be surrounded by a piece of history. This is, like I said again, a pop culture icon at this point. Not specifically that Blockbuster, but just Blockbuster as a whole is a pop culture icon, because we've had so many memories at Blockbuster. And I guarantee you, back in the day, if you think about it, most people never imagined a scenario where Blockbuster would be going out of business and actually file for bankruptcy, but it is what it is. Actually, a little side note about Blockbuster really quickly that you may not even be aware of. Blockbuster was actually in some kind of deal with Netflix where they could have actually bought Netflix out, believe it or not. But for some reason, Blockbuster was like, yeah, streaming movies on the internet is not going to be the future of TVs and movies. So we won't buy into Netflix, and we won't buy out Netflix. Boy, were they wrong. If they would have bought Netflix out, Blockbuster really would have been somewhere, honestly, and a lot of their stores would have survived. I think it's just due to the fact that they didn't want to change with the times. It's kind of like GameStop. If you look at them in 2020, GameStop is still an outdated business model, and times are progressing, times are advancing, and same thing that's going to happen to GameStop. GameStop is going to be out of business because no longer do people need physical media for their video games. A lot of people are either streaming their games nowadays or buying their games digital on the internet on their platform of choice, and that's pretty much what's going to kill off GameStop. And Blockbuster did not listen. But yeah, this looks like it's going to be a very cool thing. It even looks like, apparently from this article, you may actually be able to watch movies in there as you're actually staying the night, which is actually pretty cool. And of course, with a selection of movies that big, of course, you'll pretty much have any movie you'll ever want to watch during your stay at the Blockbuster. I'm still really surprised that they're actually deciding to actually open up this Blockbuster for the night, because it's just something I wouldn't actually think they would want to do. But I guess it's the last Blockbuster in the world, and it is kind of cool also that not everyone gets to say that they ever got a chance to stay the night at the last Blockbuster. So that's actually kind of cool in my opinion, and I had to share this out because, again, Blockbuster is very iconic, and it's very cool that there is actually still one Blockbuster still around in the world left that we can actually all enjoy. And apparently, again, this Blockbuster does extremely well. It's not like they're going to file anytime soon, and a lot of people still go here just because it is the last Blockbuster in the world. So they're like, we got to support this, even if it's not practical anymore to rent movies. We have to rent movies from Blockbuster because it's such an iconic brand and an iconic store. Now, the last one for today's episode is actually going to be about Verizon. It looks like Verizon is going to extend their partnership with Disney, specifically for Disney Plus. You guys may not know this, but when Disney Plus officially launched in the US last year in November, they had a partnership with Verizon where they said, listen, if you're on Verizon, you can get a full year of Disney Plus for free. Of course, that's for new members, and it only lasts a year. But now it looks like Verizon wants to extend their partnership with Disney a little bit farther. It looks like if you are on a certain unlimited plans from Verizon, you will be able to just get Disney Plus for free without a doubt. And in some cases, it looks like you'll be able to include Hulu and ESPN Plus as well. So it's not just Disney Plus, it will be Hulu and ESPN Plus, but I don't think that's specific to Verizon. Verizon's not reaching out to Hulu and ESPN for those deals. I think it has to do with the fact that Disney, it has a bundle already out there that includes Hulu and ESPN, I do believe. So that's why you will get those, but it depends on which plan you're on. Again, you do need to be on a Verizon unlimited plan. You can't be on a regular data plan that just has a set number of data. Like if you have like a 1 gig plan, 5 gig plan, 10 gig plan, whatever the plan may be, it has to be unlimited for you to actually get this deal. And let's see here. It looks like the deal is for Trying to see which unlimited plans will get this. It looks like you need to be on can't find it here off of this article. I'm trying to see if they tell you which ones. It looks like, as far as I see, I don't actually see which Verizon plans. Oh, it looks like the Play More or Get More unlimited plans are going to be eligible for Disney Plus. They're just going to include Disney Plus. And I actually really do like this approach from Verizon, just because if you don't know anything about Verizon, you never use them in America. Verizon is pretty much the most expensive cell phone carrier in the United States as we speak. And for a lot of people, it's kind of absurd how much they're actually charging for their cell service. And a lot of people will tell you, yes, it is premium. You get what you pay for, but even so, it's just way more than the competition. It's kind of like, why would you even pay for Verizon service when there are other services out there that are way more cheaper than Verizon? And a lot of times Verizon really doesn't offer that much better cell service than other companies out there who do provide cell service. So I guess Verizon's probably like, yeah, we need to start treating our customers better. Honestly, if we're going to actually make our prices way more higher than the competition, we have to give people reasons to why we're going to actually provide why we're going to charge more for our cell service compared to the competition. It's not like before where they always touted, oh yeah, Verizon's the best cell service in America. We have the best service. We have more coverage than most U.S. cell companies. That might have been true like 10 to 20 years ago. But now cell services have came a long way. Technology has grown. Things got better. And of course, a lot of those other companies that were lagging behind Verizon have gotten better. And it's not like if you go to another company, you're going to be getting way worse cell service than you would with Verizon. Of course, the gap is really closing there. And the only way to really stand out from the crowd is by having a lot of these freebies. I think T-Mobile gives certain freebies out to certain customers and certain plans. So it's kind of like, if other companies out there are giving out freebies for just being on our cell service, we may have to start giving out freebies on our cell service. Now, I do know, to be fair, Verizon has done My Verizon Rewards for quite some time, but a lot of those were kind of like nothing to write home about. You wouldn't really get anything that's like enough for you to want to go out and get Verizon, but this is actually a better deal than the My Verizon Rewards. I think they still do My Verizon Rewards as far as I know, but it is nice. On top of My Verizon Rewards, you will be able to get Disney Plus for free if you have the Play More or Get More unlimited plans. It's kind of a shame they just don't give it to all of their customers, because not everybody needs those plans or can even afford those plans, and it's really not practical. So it is kind of a shame, again, taking in consideration that they are the most expensive carrier in the U.S. It's kind of like, why wouldn't they just offer it to every single customer out there who's on Verizon? But I know business is business, and that is a way to get people to upgrade to the more expensive plan. But in the first place, it's not like Disney Plus is the most expensive streaming service out there. If you think about it, Disney Plus is only like $6 a month, so it's not like you're going to be losing sleep over this, and it's still not the most amazing reward in the whole universe, but you can't complain either. It is free after all, and they didn't have to do this to any of their customers, so it's kind of like you take what you can get in this situation. And it's not like Disney Plus is a bad freebie if they throw this into those unlimited plans. It's kind of like, well, it's free, and Disney does make some top tier content. Honestly, I would have liked to see a partnership, for instance, maybe with HBO or Netflix. I think I want to say T-Mobile has a subscription for Hulu where you can get Hulu free on certain plans with T-Mobile. I do believe so. I think that's why they can't have that, so they had to go to Disney. But overall, it's a nice little bonus for being on those top tier subscription plans from Verizon, and it is nice. They are starting to try to reach out and try to show you why you should subscribe to Verizon over the competition. And yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's episode. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out.